My project was about goldfish. I bought 12 goldfish at Petco, and I got 4 fish bowls, and I had 3 fish in each bowl. One was the control group. I fed them a plant algae, and they just kept it. I just kept it in there for the rest of the experiment. And then the first test group was fed tetramin, which were flakes, and then the second group was fed betamin, which were flakes as well. And then
but with different,
there were different sizes and different colors.
Okay.
And then the last group was fed goldfish pellets. And what I found out by studying this is that the control group, they died within like less than 5 days. All of them.
In that happening, what did you have to go and research? Because it sounds like you had to do some major research after you started your experiment. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I researched because I had done research on what they ate, and it told me they algae and aquatic plants.
So that's what you set your experiment
that's what I set them. But I think that as I was doing research, it said that fish never stopped eating.
Okay.
And so what I think is, and what I predict is that they never stopped eating and they just died. And even the first one I found dead, it had black stuff squirting out of its stomach.
Wow. So it literally exploded.
Yeah.
Did you have a filter or plants in all of them?
No, just in the first one.
So did you read anything about feces or about what ammonia in fish and what's in their feces?
Well, the feces contain bacteria, and that affects the fish. But I cleaned the tanks, but they just died.
Okay, so how often did you clean the tanks?
Every 2 days, because they got dirty.
Excellent. What other research did you do about goldfish or about your experiment or about the food or about the ingredients? Talk to me about your literature review.
I researched on the difference between flakes and pellets, and I found out that pelleted goldfish food was bad because if you just feed them that, it has to swell in the water before they eat it, and if they don't, it swells in their stomach. And that causes for them to die.
Did the pellet fish die?
Yes, all of them.
Did any of them have blown out stomachs?
No.
None of them did. Okay, that's good. How long did they live? How long, and are any of them still alive?
2 continue to live. The ones that were fed the betamin, that were the small flakes, they were all red and really tiny, and they're still alive.
And what was the active ingredient in those? Was it algae in all of them was the active ingredient? Or but it was just different formats.
Yeah.
So that it was
they were just different looking and like
Got it. So the same ingredients, different formulas of how the ingredients were made. Okay. What else did you learn about goldfish in your experiment or fish in general?
I learned that something I really found interesting is that goldfish get bullied.
Really? Talk to me about that.
They get bullied by other fish in the tanks. And this can cause them stress and can also lead them to die. So, fish stress, and they also stress when you switch them from tank to tank.
Talk to me about that. You found actual evidence of literature review on this.
Yeah, that they stress when you switch them from tank to tank because of the movement. Actually, when you pick them up from the water, and if they start going like that, it's because they're stressed.
So you didn't do a lot of measurement of these fish after you learned all this?
No.
So it was going to be really difficult, other than eyeballing it, to get quantitative data.
Yeah.
Was there any kind of quantitative data you were able to get?
My quantitative data was what day they died on.
So just the number of days they were able to live. Excellent. So your hypothesis again, what was your hypothesis? Which did you predict would actually...
I predicted that the control group would live the longest because that's what they eat in nature, but they were the first to die.
And why do you think scientific error? So 3 things that maybe, if you were doing this experiment again, could have been scientific error in the existing experiment or that you would change in a follow-up experiment?
I would gotten a net to handle them better because sometimes when I grabbed them with my hand, they fell to the floor, and I was like chasing them around, like, goldfish, come here. And some of them kept flopping on the floors, and they were slippery. So I couldn't hold them.
Mom's gonna go home and clean the carpet now. So a net would be good. That's one. What else do we got, Stephanie?
I forgot to feed them once.
Okay.
They had a feeding time at 5 when I got home, and one day I forgot to feed them because
Completely forgot to feed them. Okay.
Because it was a Sunday.
Did anybody die that day?
No.
Okay, so it didn't impact them as far as negatively, but it was definitely a bump in your scientific. That makes perfect sense. Anything else that you would change? Would you use more fish, less fish? Would you change the equipment that you use other than the net?
Maybe I would use bigger fish bowls.
Would you use filters or plants or?
Yeah, put plants and more like rocks and make it seem more like their natural habitat.
Good term. I like that. Natural habitat. Great. So you have $1 million and you have a year. You have to take this experiment and do it for a full year. What would you change or what would you use? You can change anything you want.
The fish. I think I would choose high quality, not high quality, but better looking fish.
Explain to me about that. You would use better looking or you would use higher quality.
Yeah.
Would you buy them all as babies? Would you buy, how would you, yeah.
I would buy them as babies so they could start fresh and I could like see what the changes are. And in the control group, maybe I would get some that had been like already in their natural habitat and they're not babies anymore.
Oh, so maybe not pet store fish, but actual natural fish.
Yeah,
okay.
so to see what the changes are.
Okay. What about the water? What did you have to treat with the water? Talk to me about the water. Or what you learned about putting fish in water.
Actually, I had to buy fish twice because the first time I bought them, I didn't. Okay, they told me about the droplets, and my mom was like, "Nah, don't use that. Like it's not gonna affect the fish. They're gonna live."
So you're a fish killer too, Mom.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We got there.
Runs in the family.
In Mexico, they live, whatever. I mean, like, they're not gonna die.
But that makes sense. In Mexico, they live when you just pop them in.
Yeah,
So why do you think it didn't work here?
The water's different.
Huge difference. And what do we have in our water that they don't have in Mexico?
Chlorine.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we treat our water for the because it's being piped so much further. Whereas in Mexico, you guys actually have the water much closer stored to where you get. No, because it's the same water. Yeah. So you learned about stress coat. You learned about our water and having to put the droplets in. Tell me about why you had to buy a second round of fish.
Because the first round I put them all in, and I noticed that one in the control group was having like an attack. It was just like flopping around, and then it would like go to the floor and just lay there. And there was like another one. I thought it was
in the bottom of the bowl.
Yeah, and there was another one. I thought it was so cute because it was like poking it with its mouth, like trying to like keep it alive.
It was trying to save the other fish.
Yeah, and then at the end they both died, and then the third little fishy like laid down with them and died too.
And what group was this in?
Control group, but actually all of them died except for 3.
Okay, and so you have 3 fish living, and they're all from the same food source.
No,
They're from 3 different ones.
Yeah.
Have you put them all in the same tank so they can live together happily?
No, I'm gonna do that today.
Okay, and I would strongly encourage if you're going to keep them as pets, because I noticed you even named one of them.
Yeah, I named them all.
Mojo
Jojo died. Stacy died.
And so you have 3 fish that you really don't like living.
Yeah, no. 2 of them, because the lady gave me 2 extra fish, so I kept those. They're the cuties. And they're like living separately.
So if you were to, what did you learn? Tell me some ahas that you learned from this experiment. Because did you enjoy doing the experiment, and then what did you learn from a biology standpoint?
I did enjoy it. Not so much cleaning and taking out the dead fish and having to smell everything and cleaning the tanks. But I did enjoy it. And something that I learned is that fish need a lot of caring. I thought that dogs were hard, but fish are like, wow.
No, I think that's a really good observation. If you were to go into biology when you got to college, what animal do you think, after this experiments with fish, what would you prefer working with?
I think still fish.
You still would work with fish. Are there other experiments or thoughts that, as you were doing this research, that, and I heard one of them like the water in Mexico. Are there any other?
Maybe like test different water sources from different from Mexico and all around the world to see what the difference is.
And if fish can live better in other places, great. And what was your final conclusion, just out of curiosity, based on your evidence?
I concluded that definitely flaked food is better than pelleted food for the fish, and that also you have to be constantly cleaning the water because it's said in an article that every 15 minutes after you feed them, you have to clean the food that was left over so it won't leave any toxins in the water and also filth. Yep. Because that can affect
and their feces too. Yeah. What did you just out of curiosity? What did you clean your bowls with when you said you cleaned the fish bowls out? What were you cleaning it with?
Actually, you just spray them with Windex.
Okay.
And clean them with the water.
Which was ammonia, which kills fish. Did you have any fish die?
No, not with that.
Right when you put the water back in, you didn't have any after cleaning the tanks that died. Did you keep some of the water so they were still living in the water that they were in? So how did you clean the bowls, out of curiosity?
I threw the water all out, and I rinsed.
What'd you do with the fish?
I put them in another water source.
But not with the other fish?
No, because I needed to keep the control groups and the other separate from each other. Or else I would get confused with which fish was which fish. Yes, I get that. Thank you very much, Stephanie. I'm curious, can I see your data and can I see your citation, please? We're excited. Your packet, yeah. No, let me see that. So find me the data collection, like where you were collecting data. Awesome. Materials. You like this better than the health project, huh? Yeah. This is my quantitative.
There's your quantitative data and there's your qualitative, great.
And my works cited.
What are your favorite goldfish names? No, yeah, awesome. Go back to
You
this.
need to read this, actually.
You found research.
Look, I found this interesting. For two, if you have two, name one New and the other one York. If you have three, name one Peanuts, the other one Butter, and the other one Jelly.
No more fish for your household. I think you have a great career in pet care, but I also would really encourage you, if you really enjoyed working with fish, marine biology is a great career.
Yeah, I was actually
Latinas,
thinking of that.
And do you swim?
No,
So that'd be something to think about. But I mean, Latinas in marine biology start about $10,000 more than anybody else. You get to travel quite a bit. You may spend your whole life studying one species of fish or animal or crab, but I know you love Monterey Bay Aquarium, and every time we go, it's something new for you. And this might be a career outlet that you want to look for next year for your internship. The Aquarium by the Sea in San Francisco does internships, which is something that we could help arrange with. And then there's also who else has the Oakland Zoo has some fish tanks and dealing with like the otters, and then they also have an internship at the zoo, which I think would be tremendous for her for next year. So it's close to us. I mean, you could definitely get up there on a Wednesday. We've had a couple of students do internships there, so I would really encourage you to look into that for next year. Very nicely done. Awesome stuff. You're good. I'll give you your scores tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.